Hey friends and family, my name is Skylent. Welcome. We got some MMO news today, talking about a brand new one called Population Zero, or at least I hope it's an MMO. It looks very much just like a normal survival game, but we will see how many players actually get onto the screen at one time. Regardless, guys, an MMO's planned to release, at least in early access, May 5th. That's going to be in 8 days. In about a week, we are going to be playing a brand new sci-fi survival MMORPG, and hopefully things won't go awry, which they always do. If we can look at Last Oasis and Atlas and almost every single one ever, especially because it is early access. It means that this company does not have that much experience, this engine does not have much experience with the horde of players who are so hungry to play a brand new MMO, especially one that's set in a sci-fi universe, and especially one that promises both interesting PvE and engaging player versus player content. Anyways, so what does this game entail? What's going to be here for the early access? Let's go ahead and rant about it. And I'm going to give you my thoughts and feelings on this as well. I'm generally pretty skeptical, but I'm kind of excited for this aesthetic, this theme, absolutely. And I was actually a big fan of Last Oasis, which I do own, and I made a couple videos on if you guys want to watch that. But survival sci-fi games, not too uncommon, but with actual PvP, with actually like an MMO sense of scale and gameplay. That's what makes this game kind of interesting. Now, Population Zero, I'm not really sure the name scheme works for an MMO. It might just be a zero populated game. That would be a tragedy. A lot of these kind of, sandbox style games tend to have lower populations. However, Last Oasis did pretty good, so I'm looking forward to this game, and we'll see how it works out. But survival on Kepler is a race against time. You gotta make the most of the remaining 168 hours or get turned into an unworldly being by the sphere. Complete quests to help NPCs explore the diverse landscape, survive wildlife and other players, uncover Kepler's mysteries, and your mission's true goal. Anyways, that is the description on Steam, and I have no fucking clue what that even means at all. Does that mean that there's like a world reset kind of system? Do players transform into monsters and then new settlers come in, like you basically respawn? This is something that was kind of thought of in a few other games, like limited time events. Crowfall, I know, has limited time campaigns. Last Oasis actually has limited time zones. So this sort of concept, I think, is interesting for PvP style games, but how is the base building going to work? Are bases going to stay the same? That's something that pulls a lot of people away from Last Oasis. And anyways, speaking about monsters and shit, and like hidden lore, I think this game might have definitely a better PvE scene than a lot of other sandbox PvP games. Like Last Oasis has almost nothing, right? So this is looking pretty cool, as long as the combat's actually fun and not too ridiculously laggy, which I'm going to assume it is, but who knows, right? And if there's story and stuff to uncover, that sounds really cool too. But I wonder how base building's going to work. That's something that, it's something they show off and promote, but we'll see. Anyways, you guys will see in the gameplay below. I'm probably going to have to replay the trailer a million times. Anyways, so the story here is basically your ship was destroyed with no chance of returning to Earth. You face an unknown frontier. There are 168 hours left until human extinction. I wonder why it's that specific amount. Repair the reactor and restart your hibernation pod to save yourself. Fail and become a creature of nightmares. Unite with fellow colonists or destroy them all. It's really weird. It's just, I guess it's like some sort of post-apocalyptic, but also post-Earth kind of situation. What, is everyone transforming into monsters? Which, by the way, that's why I really enjoyed Ark. And it's something that a lot of these other sandbox PvP games don't really have, unless you maybe like BDO or something, but that's barely a sandbox. You normally don't get big-ass monsters, and I love big-ass monsters, okay? So, pretty excited for that. PvE or PvP? Who is this going to be for? What kind of gameplay? Where is it split? Like in half of both? It seems like it's going to be about that. It's going to be about half PvE, half PvP, and likely the PvE is going to facilitate the PvP. We call that PvX or PvEVP, and I'm just going to sing the alphabet. Population Zero is perfect for newcomers, apparently is what they said, as well as hardcore survivalists. Play in PvE modes and explore the planet without fear of losing your hard-earned gear in an uphill battle against seasoned veterans. Having studied the rules of survival on Kepler, dive into the competitive game modes to show off your combat skills. Then up your game by joining a hardcore PvP session with only a single life. Learn, adapt, and slay your rivals. So this is where I'm getting a little bit confused. Is it just a one-world MMO thing? There's multiple game modes? Is this even really an MMO? It seems like there is a survival mode, and then there is also like PvP sessions individually. I mean, that's the word they're using, but then they also call this an MMO, so I'm very confused. Yeah. In PvP game modes, death is a new beginning. Multiple respawns increase the mutation level and eventually transform you into an overpowered monster. The Void are extremely powerful. Take revenge on your offenders. Team up with other mutants to bring chaos and destruction. But don't be arrogant. A united, well-knit group of colonists can hunt you down. Now this is sounding a lot like Evolve, and it's sounding a lot like almost like an infection style game mode, which I love those. In fact, I've made multiple videos on asymmetrical multiplayer games or games where you play as the monster. Things like that is kind of my shit. So this game, which offers all sorts of other types of gameplay, also involves playing as the monster. That's pretty cool. I think it's exceedingly rare for an MMO to have really any sort of PvE/PvP that's actually balanced, let alone where you get to play this fucking monster. Sweet. Okay, that's a fun, stupid gimmick. Survive through different game modes. Again, the game modes. Not uncommon with MMOs actually, but normally MMOs also are full MMOs. Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft have open world, questing, stuff like that, and there's even open world PvP, but generally there's stuff like arenas or battlegrounds or, etc., dungeons, and those could be considered game modes, but this game consistently saying sessions, game modes, stuff like that has me a little bit worried. So during the 7-day cycles, you will explore the planet, complete quests, survive against the hostile environments and different enemies. You're gonna build, craft, gain knowledge about the game world, successfully play grants experience points. And yeah, you level up. And it's pretty general stuff, but new levels give access to a variety of these game modes and mechanics. They say mechanics, it's extremely vague, but new game modes, it's probably the same as something like World of Warcraft. But yeah, I don't know, maybe that's what I'm just worried that that's what they're considering as the MMO portion. And yeah, next up, they talk about uncovering and exploring the world. It's a vast, seamless world with 7 distinct biomes. So there is one world, and likely it's going to be phased between different game modes or something like that. And by exploring the game world, you're going to learn more about the story and develop your character. Set forth on a journey, is what they say. Explore the wilderness to learn new technologies, which I'm excited for, being sci-fi. Craft new gear and uncover Kepler's secrets. Yeah, they kind of hinted at that before. It's like, oh, there's a hidden mission. There's some hidden cool lore, dark and mysterious. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So we're going to be hunting wild beasts for resources, and we're going to battle human rivals as well for supremacy over the different zones and territories. And we're going to pick our weapon of choice from a wide selection of hand-carried arms. Each weapon type has its own set of moves and animations, and that sounds a lot like New World. And then master the skill-based combat system, outsmart your enemies, and crush them, which sounds a lot like Last Oasis and mainly New World. Hopefully with a little bit of technology boost, we can kind of get some pseudo-magical kind of gameplay or combat that's a little bit more than point-and-click shooting and just wildly swinging like we do have in Last Oasis. Anyways, what's the character development? What's the RPG? It says utilize technology tree, so that's going to happen. There's going to be perks to develop your colonist, probably very similar to Ark, and unlock technologies to acquire new crafting recipes, blah, 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 just like every other game. And perks are stat bonuses that are unlocked randomly. That's interesting, randomly, vary in their value and obtainment requirements. Both systems will help you fight for survival more effectively. So, don't know how you guys feel about the random and / passive, just stat bonuses. But I don't know, running faster is neat, I guess. But I'm more of a fan of talent trees and things where you just get crazy new abilities, like, oh, you can jump twice as high as someone else, Or maybe you learn like gravity boots, right? And you can walk on walls. I like stuff that vastly changes how you play. Otherwise, I just go for speed boost, and that's pretty much it. Most people just get strength, most people just put it into health. And I just think stat bonuses are a little bit boring, but we'll see what happens with that technology tree, definitely. The technology / crazy weird sci-fi monsters is definitely the appeal to the game. However, everything being fragmented could be a boon as well as much as kind of a problem for some people. Like if you're a big fan of the MMO portion of games, I think that this game might deter you because it seems like it's going to be like an open kind of survival server game that might be a little bit more social, but it's probably going to be more like, okay, you have your survival world, and then you kind of just dip your toe in between like different game modes here and there. It might be more of a No Man's Sky, or probably more of like Sea of Thieves, more of an MMO light proper. There is a distinction between MMO propers and then MMO lights and then non-MMO games. So yeah, if you've played something like Ark Survival Evolved, I think Population Zero might be an evolution of that, especially in a right proper sci-fi setting, with all this alien world. In fact, this Population Zero probably could have been a mod to Ark, That's just seemingly what it looks like on first glance, but they are calling it an MMO. They do want to promote PvE and PvP, different game modes, I guess. So my hope and dream is that this is a proper MMO PvEVP game with all these features. Last Oasis is interesting, but that's just a PvP game. And the last PvEVP MMO that I played was Albion Online, and that looks the way that looks, and that's just like a fantasy game. So I really want this title to exist as a proper MMO. That's just my thoughts and feelings, and will it? Probably, almost certainly not, with the regurgitation of saying modes, sessions, and how you have to unlock them. And there's a lot of singular focus, at least when they're trying to describe the game, talking about you, your story, your character, but at the same time, you have like limited time to play with this character or on this world. So these are all things that are very, the pun, alien. It's incredibly alien and strange, and it's very hard to get a grasp of what this game's going to be like until it finally hits early access May 5th. And even then, it's going to run great, is going to be right proper, balanced, and are all the game modes going to be in? Because this wouldn't be the first game that didn't have all of its game modes and then continues to promise, oh, it'll be an MMO eventually. Oh, we'll put in PvP eventually. Or, oh, we'll put in, this and that. And so it's a little bit weary. Right now, I'm going to say keep the hype alive for sure. And that's why I'm covering it. It looks really cool, but a lot of these games do. Until we see it fully functioning in its proper MMO state, I would have to say stay away. But then again, I'll try to cover it May 5th. Look forward to that in a week. Much love, friends and family. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Population Zero and how it relates to other survival games, other sci-fi games, and obviously other MMO. What do you expect to happen with this game? Are you going to be joining me? Well, if you do, twitch.tv/Skylent. I'll be streaming it and having a blast. Anyways, I'm going to end off by saying I hope you guys are enjoying all the content lately, just trying to do some news, trying to talk about some cool games and play them with you. So if you want to play with me, join the Discord, links in the description, as well as a comment, and you can join us for the Video Game Party Club. And this month, we're playing Guild Wars 2. I'm probably going to be jumping on my Mesmer a lot, in between a couple different classes, but we're going to be leveling, doing dungeons, and also doing endgame all throughout this month. And also look forward to the expansion content and a full review of Guild Wars 2 entirely. Much love, guys. Have fun. I'll see you in the next one.